is a yoga teacher, and I'd say humanitarian. So I'm imagining you all have blocks, a strap, and a sandbag to start. No. Okay. Wendy, if you do not have a sandbag, if you have something that is weighted, or even something that you can place on your abdomen. So when we're at home practice, I don't necessarily expect that you'll have all the props, but something that you feel comfortable placing on your abdomen that will help you kind of recognize what's happening with your breath. And if you feel like a downward pressure of your hands will work, great. If you would prefer to kind of find something weighted, even a book, you could place on your abdomen because you can see the rise and fall of your breath. And so for tonight, we're going to actually start in Shavasana. You don't need anything except your sandbag and your strap nearby. And when you come down to your back, you're going to place your sandbag onto your diaphragm. And it's okay with me if you bend through your knees. You can knee knock here if that feels good, resting both of those knees inward. You can also come into a bind. You can bring the soles of the feet together in bound angle, and you can extend the feet into a full corpse pose or Shavasana as well. So let your eyes soften, and we'll slowly allow the lips to part, and we'll let ourselves move the jaw from right to left and from left to right. And we'll begin to relax all of the muscles of the face. And so if it feels new or unfamiliar to relax muscles of the face, the best way to do so is to tense and relax. So even imagining what it feels like if you bit into a sour lemon, you can imagine yourself kind of tensing up your face and then slowly relaxing each muscle group of the face. And we'll continue to move through each muscle group as we move down into the arms and the shoulders, tensing and releasing your shoulders. And if it's difficult to figure out if your body is in a state of rest, even lying down in Shavasana on your mat, what you can do is you can create a bicep with one hand or both. And as you curl those arms inward, really begin to squeeze the palms together so that you can notice what tension feels like. Because I imagine you're living your life all the time and you're completely relaxed 24/7. So having to know what tension feels like is probably unfamiliar to you guys. And so we'll go ahead and release one hand down and continue to create the tension of one bicep curling inward, but both hands are squeezing tightly. And then we'll slowly release the fingertips of one hand, but keep one bicep curled. And so from here, we're noticing the difference of tension and relaxation. And if you're ready to fully relax and surrender into your practice tonight, our hamstring strengthening practice, you can slowly give yourself permission on your own terms and time to release that left hand as well. And so if you think about the hamstrings, your hamstrings are a group of muscles with a set of 3 muscles within that group that run along the back of your thigh. And they run from the back of the thigh to the hip, just below your knee. And the hamstrings are pretty much involved in every movement you do. Sitting, there's a contraction. Walking, running, climbing stairs. And the fascia of this muscle group wraps around your muscles and the tendons, and the superficial back line of the fascia connects to the entire posterior chain of your body. So what does that nonsense mean? That means that what happens to the hamstrings affects the legs and the entire back of the body, including the hip. This is where we have the most common injuries originating from, perhaps even thinking about the pain in your back possibly related to the hamstring or the leg. So just kind of being mindful of your own history with your own hamstrings as you bring your awareness to the breath now. And we'll slowly allow ourselves to experience the 5 qualities of our breath. We want our breath to be smooth and deep. And we want our breath to be pauseless, free from jerking and holding. And we want the in-breath to flow into the out-breath with the same amount of length and strength and force. So as you inhale for the count of 3, exhaling for the count of 3, and so on and so forth. If your breath can lengthen a little bit longer, go ahead and do that. So now as you're lying on your back on the mat, just noticing your body in the position that it is resting in with your weight or your sandbag on the diaphragm. So that diaphragm is that dome-shaped organ and tendon that kind of runs around the lower ribs. And so as you're lying here, noticing the position of your chest without changing anything is typically motionless if you're at a state of rest, and that the navel region rises and falls noticeably. Now let your breathing slow and become even. And in the spirit of living in the Midwest in January, you can picture yourself on the warm sands of a beach, your favorite beach, breathing in and out at a slow pace, perhaps linked to the flow of the waves. Now, as you inhale now, I want you to give yourself permission to try to press that sandbag up towards the ceiling or skyward. So without moving it with your hands, you're using your breath. Now on that exhale, notice what happens to your breath as the exhalation enters the body with the sandbag on the diaphragm. Now, if your experience is that the sandbag makes more of a downward force on the exhale and changes the breath rhythm from a 1-to-1 breath pattern to a 2-to-1 breath pattern, we want to slow down the exhalation. Because the other part of hamstring strengthening is to have a strong core and to be able to dynamically breathe into the body. We'll take 5 inhales and exhales. And during this breath, letting yourself remain curious to what is in your control and what feels like a challenge. Breathing in and breathing out. We'll slowly allow our hands to cover the heart, and we'll make a connection to the heart and the earth below us as we begin to set an intention for our practice tonight. And my wish for you tonight is that your intention flows freely, not only on your mat, but also off your mat, so that it can ring true in everyday life. And when you're ready, let's bring ourselves into a nice kneeling position, moving your sandbag off to the side. Rolling off to one side. And we'll let ourselves come up into Virasana or hero pose. So you can sit with a block between your heels if you want, hugging the heels with the block. You can sit on top of your feet. You can also split your calves off to the sides and sit down towards the heels with the tops of the feet relaxed. So whatever is not going to bring your foot into a cramp. Bringing your hands into your lap in friendship pose, Maitri pose. We'll join the thumbs together and we'll sit tall on the spine. As we find the proper posture in our practice tonight, we'll allow space for the lungs to breathe naturally, freely. And so tonight we'll start our practice with our alternate nostril breathing for nighttime sequence. And so our breath practices strengthen our core and our diaphragm so that we can be ready to move, but also to be able to work with any hamstring issues. So our pranayama tonight is our alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to use our right hand, and we're going to use our fourth finger and our thumb, and we're going to do 3 rounds together, and then we'll begin to move. So there typically is a different sequence for alternate nostril breathing depending on what time of the day it is, because while we may breathe over 20,000 times per day, our nostril dominance actually means something in yoga. So sometimes as you kind of get in tune with the yoga lifestyle, knowing when to eat based on which nostril is open kind of goes down to the yoga science. So it's nighttime now. And so we're going to take a deep breath in through our nostrils, and we're going to block the left nostril with the fourth finger. And as you do so, you're making sure that you're closing the nostril hole, but you're not pushing extremely hard, just a gentle press. And you're going to exhale out of that right nostril. Then you're going to inhale through that right nostril. And then we're going to block the right nostril with the thumb and exhale out the left. Inhaling left. Blocking that left nostril, exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. And we'll drop the hand down, letting the hands return to the lap. And just noticing the quality of your breath. And trying to breathe freely through both nostrils, which is moving through the central channel of the body. So in yoga science, the crown of the head to the root of the pelvis is the central channel. We call that Sushumna, kind of aligns with your spine. And then moving across the body and intersecting at the chakras or different parts of the organs is our Ida and Pingala. So that's the left and the right nostrils or nadis. And so We work to balance them so that our yoga practice and other parts of our mental qualities are more zen or more balanced, and it corresponds with other things too. And so if you're doing the challenge, you'll get a couple of these practices in upcoming videos. We'll move on to our second round. So again, we're going to block after a full cycle of breath, inhaling for half of a count, exhaling, that's a full cycle of breath. We're going to inhale once more, and then we're going to block that left nostril with the fourth finger and exhale out the right nostril. Inhaling through the right nostril, using your thumb to block your right nostril, exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. And exhale right. Inhale right. Again, taking a gentle pause and noticing how you feel in this moment. We'll take one complete cycle of breath, inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling through the nostrils, inhaling through the nostrils, and using your fourth finger to block that left nostril, exhaling right. Inhaling right, exhaling left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. And we're going to release the hands now for that final time and just kind of take notice on how you feel. And so this version corresponds with full cycles of breath, and it tends to be the easier version to remember, is that you're inhaling and exhaling on one side, starting with right over to left, and then counting that you're doing 6 cycles to just notice how you're feeling. All right, we're going to let ourselves now release on down to the mat, and we're going to come onto our backs. And we'll begin our full sequence in our practice tonight. So as you come back down to your spine, draw your knees into your chest. And we'll let the body take shape of a round ball. You can lift the head, neck, and shoulders if you like off the mat. You can let yourself rock from side to side. And then we're going to slowly lower the 4 corners of the feet down towards the mat. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders and look for your strap. And so from here, we're going to bring the strap around the toe ball mound of the right foot. And we're going to bring the left hand to the left hip crease. And we're slowly going to begin to open that right leg all the way out to the right. So we're stretching the hamstring, drawing the toes towards the nose. We're also going to flex through that left foot so that the toes are pointing towards the ceiling. And we're going to draw that left shoulder blade down so that the arms are connected to the earth. Reach now that left arm as far away from your physical body as you can. And it's okay if the palm is facing up or down, it doesn't matter. And if your foot tends to hover above the earth in a reclined hand to big toe pose, you can allow it to rest all the way down to the carpet, or if you'd like to keep your strap around your foot, you can. You can also bring a second block underneath the calf to support the leg. Inhaling and exhaling, come back up to center. And then we're going to let the straps come off to the sides here, and then we're going to hold on underneath the thigh, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders off the earth. Walk your hands up your calf. Let your elbows splay out to the sides and press up skywards with your right heel. We're going to draw that knee to the nose. Breathing into the body. We'll inhale and exhale, lower the head, neck, and shoulders. And we'll bring the left foot into the strap, coming into a reclined, wide-legged straddle. Draw the toes towards the nose. And you'll start to feel the active engagement, almost as a protection of the muscles if you're protecting one of your legs, your hips, or even the hamstrings. So actively relax the muscles of the legs and let the strap do the work for you. Energetically pressing the outer edges of the feet away from the middle of your body. You can drop the elbows down if you'd like. And we'll inhale and exhale. Bring the inner edges of the feet together at a 90-degree angle, taking the right foot out of the strap. And we'll go ahead and bring the right hand to the right hip crease. Exhaling that left foot all the way out to the left side. Keep your shoulder blades connected. And we're going to connect those shoulder blades to the earth below us, lengthening through the crown of the head and pointing the left toes towards the nose or shoulder. Breathing into your body, we'll take 3 deep breaths here and 3 long, slow, deep breaths out. And we're working with some of our hamstring tightness, kind of knowing that stretching is good, but less is best. So when we say things like practice within 2 finger lengths of your maximum capacity, that sounds nice and fluffy. But what that means is making sure that when you have a tight muscle or your back or your hip is being affected, that you apply gentler approaches to your practices. Inhale and exhale, left leg's going to come back and up. And so here we can actually move the strap off to the side. And if it feels good, you can bend through the right knee with me. And we're going to have our hands maybe walking up to the left calf. And we're going to lift the head, neck, and shoulders off the mat, rounding through the spine, drawing the toe towards the nose. You got it. Inhaling and exhaling, letting your head, neck, and shoulders come down to the earth, bend through that left knee. Bring those heels as close to the glutes as possible. Tailbone tucks, reach the arms overhead. As we come into a bridge pose, we're going to allow ourselves to lift the hips. So I'm going to ask you for several breaths to hold your bridge up. So as we're strengthening the glutes, we still want to have a 90-degree bend in the knees. So being mindful of the positioning of your feet. Do you need to walk your heels a little bit closer or further away from your body? So when we think about this particular posture, what we're doing is we're building strength in the glutes so that the glutes can support the hamstrings. And so that when you activate or squeeze your glutes in this moment, you'll notice your hips are lifting up a little bit higher. So imagining yourself now dragging your heels towards your body, but they're not leaving the mat. This can help you further activate and strengthen your hamstrings. And in our bridge, we still want a hips distance apart stance with the knees. So if you can, separate your knees so that your ankle bones are nowhere near one another. Let those elbows now come alongside the hips. We think about the hands as robot arms here. Fingertips are pointing up, and we're coming up to the shoulders, the elbows, and even the triceps. Getting a nice little heart opener here. Create some space between your ears and your shoulders. And we'll squeeze those glutes and we'll drag those heels, noticing how that feels. Inhale and exhale, clasp your hands behind your back. We're gonna tuck one shoulder under, then the other. Still pressing down into the four corners of the feet, the glutes are engaged. Three breaths. Inhale and exhale. We'll let our hands unclasp, lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae. And draw those knees back into your chest and slowly rocking chair your way up into cross-legged seated pose. So as you're facing the front of your mat, you can decide if you want to bring the soles of the feet together. We'll just stay for a minute. We're going to press the knees to the outer edges of the mat. And then we're going to take two more rocking chairs on our spine. We're going to transition after the second rocking chair into plank, but you're going to stay because we got to strengthen that core, right? So I know you're all smiling back there. You're like, yes, core strengthening postures. They're throwing confetti in here, Wendy. This is crazy. They love them. Okay, come on into your boat. So I don't know if you saw yesterday's meme. Yesterday's meme on our Nurture Facebook was that Mondays are like that least favorite pose in yoga that nobody likes. It is Navasana, boat pose, and it said, get that shit out of here. Exhale, let yourself rocking chair momentum into plow pose, Halasana. Come back up one more time. Knees parallel to the forehead. Exhale, come rolling up, plant the hands onto the mat, rise up to the shins, kick back into plank. So for your plank today, you have that option to come down into your forearm plank. And we're going to create a broad back, navel's drawing up and in, and we're going to stay for 30 seconds. That 30 seconds is actually going to start on Tracy time, and that's now. Begin. Letting that navel center engage. Good, breathe into your body, rolling into the toe ball mounds of your feet. If you like, you can lift one leg, circling through the ankle or toe heel extensions. And we've got 1 second to go. We'll make our way into downward facing dog. Breathing into the body, take a half a step in, stretching the heels down to the earth, letting the triceps roll back towards the shin bones. And let those bicep muscles curl forward in that downward facing dog posture. You can heel toe, you can walk your dog. Maybe it's been a minute since you've been in downward facing dog and this feels good. If you'd like to, you can go ahead and come into a three-legged dog. Opening up on a hip, bending through the knee. Rising up to the toe ball mounds of your feet. You choose. We'll invite in that victorious breath tonight, the Ujjayi breath. So as we breathe in through the hollow of our throat, we'll exhale as though we forcefully are breathing out of the nostrils. Let's come forward into plank. Let's move through our first chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe into your body. Walk jumper step to the front of your mat. Coming into your standing forward fold, holding on to opposite elbow crease. So our dangling poses are excellent poses for tight hamstrings. And so when we think about dangling, you can let yourself rock from side to side. But here we really want to bend through the knees. And as we bend through the knees, we want to take the weight out of the heels and find the balance between the four corners of the feet. So what you think about in your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold, It's actually really not about touching your toes. We want to keep the knees bent. We want to feel the rib cage touch the tops of the thighs. And when we begin to straighten our legs here, we're going to plant the palms down onto the earth. We want to focus on stretching the hamstring versus touching the toes. So relax your arms, let yourself sway from side to side. And then go ahead and bring the hands behind the legs, fingertips pointing down towards the Achilles. Press the shin bones forward and draw your chin into your chest, lengthening the crown of your head towards the mat. So if you feel like you'd like to make this a little bit more challenging, you can clasp your hands behind your back, make a little bit of a shoulder stretch here as you straighten the legs, draw the shoulders off the neck. And when you're ready, bring the hands to the lumbar spine, lifting the toes of the right foot. Place your right hand underneath it, and then lift the toes of the left foot. Find your balance, straighten the legs, and look forward onto the horizon. Breathing here. Inhale and exhale. Press the toe ball mounds of your feet down into your hands and try to resist your hands trying to come off the mat. Inhale and exhale. Release the hands from the feet. We'll rise halfway up. We're coming into Ardha Uttanasana. You're looking forward onto the horizon and keep your back straight. And so as you're squeezing your back muscles together, your knees can bend gently. And those of you that like to engage the root lock Mula Bandha, you can. Slowly close your eyes and uncurl your spine if that's okay with your balance. If not, keep your eyes on a focal point and come up into standing mountain. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, tick-tock your arms over to the right. Lateral side bend. Press those fingertips to the opposite direction of your hips. Inhale, come back up. Reach up. Press those hips over to the right, arms to the left. Inhale, come back and up. Clasp the palms here, press the thumbs together, backs of the hands, hips press forward. Exhale, swan dive forward, bend into yourself. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, jump back plank. Move through your flow of choice. Upward facing dog, downward dog. Look forward between your thumbs, jump to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend through the knees, reverse swan dive. Bring those hands out into a T, torso on the thighs, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Plant your palms, jump back plank. Take vinyasa. Downward dog. All right, so building from our dog to our cat to our bird. As you bend through your knees, you're gonna roll forward, come down into a kneeling scared cat, round through the spine. Arch the spine, look forward and up. Press back towards the heels. Pull the shin bones off the mat. Downward facing dog. Good. Now look forward between your thumbs and start thinking about leaping and rounding like you would come forward into your plank. Leaping and rounding to the front. On your next exhale, look forward, jump to the front of the mat. Dog, cat, bird. Halfway up. Exhale, fold. Slowly uncurl your spine. So thinking about the shapes that your body makes. Nice back bend to the spine. Press those hips forward. Inner spiral your thighs behind you. Exhale, forward fold. Jump back plank. Take vinyasa flow. Upward dog. Downward dog. Look between those thumbs, bend through the knee. Your body is a dog. Then it takes the shape of a rounded cat as it jumps forward and you lift off like a bird. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Uncurl your spine. Breathing into your body, arms will reach up. This time, exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Next vinyasa, jump back. Lift your hips into downward facing dog after your flow. Inhale and exhale. Don't forget your alignment and your breath. Right leg lifts high. Inhale, warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Step forward between your hands. If your foot doesn't make it, grab your right foot by the ankle and step forward. Back left foot is out, 45 degrees. Inhale, let those arms come parallel to your ears. Breathing into the body. Slide that right hip back, left hip forward. Still hugging the outer edge of that left foot. Now just for fun, if you'd like to take that into a humble warrior, clasp your hands behind your back, lift your heart. Roll your shoulder blades together and fold into the inner right part of the right leg. So the right shoulder touches the inner right knee. Breathing into your body, let your hands come to your lumbar spine, left hand down to the inside of the right foot. Right arm is gonna reach up. So our runner's lunge is an excellent stretch out through the left heel for our hamstrings. Right arm is gonna come up. We're gonna keep a bend into the right knee. Good, breathing into your body. We're gonna allow the right hand to come down to the earth, left hand in front of the shoulder, and we're gonna come into side plank on the exhale. Remembering in your side plank, you have that variation of half gate. You can drop down to that back left knee. You can stack your hips. You can also lift that top leg. You can scissor your ankles. You can stack them. You can make them a tree. Maybe bringing the sole or the arch of the right foot to the left calf. When you're ready, come into down dog. And take an extra vinyasa. This time, stay on your belly. As you bring your forehead down to the mat, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades forward and up towards the sky. Imagining here as though you're pinching a pencil together on your spine. Pressing into the hands, tuck the toes under. Charge the backs of the legs, lift the kneecaps, the quads off the mat, press up into plank. Downward dog. Exhale. Let's bring that left leg high to the sky. Step forward between the hands. Runner's lunge to warrior one feet. Turn the back right foot out, 45 degrees. Square your hips to the front edge of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. So we're gonna use our feet, and we're gonna use our feet almost as though we're pressing and pulling in opposition. So the left toe ball mound of the foot underneath the top of the foot is pushing forward, and the right heel is sliding back. Shoulders down into their sockets. Clasp the hands behind your back. Lift the heart. Inhale, shoulder blades together. Exhale, folding forward here. The left shoulder comes to the inside of the left knee. Honoring your body. Still activating your feet. Exhale, hands to the lumbar spine. Right hand comes down to the mat. Let's heel toe that right leg behind us. We're gonna have that deep runner's lunge. Left arm reaches forward. Inhale, twist from the hips. Left hand comes up. Stack your shoulders. Breathing into your body. Exhale, left hand comes down. We're gonna step back into plank. And we're gonna take a side plank from plank pose. Right hand comes to center of the mat. Pivot over to the outer edge of the right foot. Stack that left foot above the right. Press your mat away. Exhale, downward dog. Breathing into your body. Vinyasa flow. Lifting those hips. Slowly walk, jump, or step to the front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward bend. Slowly uncurl your spine. Inhale as those arms reach up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Notice how you feel. Circle sweep the arms up. Nice back bend to the spine. Forward bend any way you'd like. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, jump back plank. Take vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Great. Right leg is going to lift high. Inhale, step between your hands. Warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. We're going to pivot onto the outer edge of the left foot, aligning heel to heel or heel to arch. Windmill that left arm around your ear, bending into the right knee. Hands to the heart. We're going to come into Skandasana, back of the mat. We're going to bend through that left knee. We're going to sit down towards that left heel. Hands are going to come to the heart. And we're balancing here. Find a focal point, lifting the toes of the right foot off the mat. Inhale, press those hands down into the earth. Slide over to the other side, bending through that right knee. We're going to begin to touch or move towards touching the right heel towards the right glute. Lift the chest. Palms come together. Breathing into the body. Press the palms down into the mat. Wide-legged forward fold. Reach for those ankles. So again, another hamstring stretch here. Forehead or crown is moving down towards the mat. Draw your navel up and in. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And so from here, if you'd like to take this into your tripod headstand, if that is in your practice, go ahead. We can come to the soft spot of the crown. We'll walk the feet behind us. And today, you may want to try to bring that right knee towards the right tricep, lifting the left foot high. Bring that left knee towards your left tricep and extend those feet back into your wide-legged fold. Breathing into your body. Let's take a quarter turn to the front of the mat. And we're going to bend into that right knee. Slide it back and up, three-legged dog. And so if it's in your practice here to move into a flip dog here, you can. Otherwise, if you'd like to take some hip circles here, 3 or 4, clockwise and then counterclockwise. We'll all meet in down dog on our own terms and time. Taking time to arrive. Breathing into your body. Take vinyasa. Downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, left leg is going to lift high. Inhale. Step through your hands. Setting up for a warrior two. Align heel to heel or heel to arch. Runner's lunge brings the right arm over the ear. And we're going to align the torso with the long right edge of the mat. Breathing into your body. Hands are going to come to the heart. We're going to straighten and lift the toes of the left foot. Bending through the right leg. Sitting back in Skandasana towards the back of your mat. Good. So as the toes lift up, if your hamstrings are tight here, press your left heel forward. Then draw the kneecap and the quad up towards the hip. Breathe into your body. Let those hands come down to the mat. Let yourself transition over to the other side safely. We'll bend into the left knee. We're going to lift the toes of the right foot off the mat. And we're going to bring the hands to the heart, finding your gazing point. Breathing into the body. You can bring those hands down. Exhale to wide-legged forward fold. Here you can clasp your hands behind your back if you'd like, lifting the knuckles up. We'll go ahead and draw the shoulder blades together and keep them off the neck. And if you'd like, you can take this into tripod headstand on this side. So if your headstand is in your practice, you're coming to the soft spot of your crown. You're going to keep a long neck, and we're not going to allow the head to bear all of the weight of the body. Tripod to headstand is one of the most forceful inversions here because a lot of people do not have the neck strength to keep the neck long, and then they let the head bear the weight of the entire body, creating a cervical spinal injury. And so if that version is not right for you, we can move into other versions at a different time. So allow yourself to quarter turn to the front of the mat. We're going to take that runner's lunge into three-legged dog. Open up on the hip, bend through the knee. You can flip your dog here if you'd like. And we're going to lift the hips high. You can also come into your hip circles if you prefer. And once you've come out of your flip dog to downward facing dog, let's come forward into plank. Move through your vinyasa. And allow yourself to press your hips towards your heels. Malasana is our yogi squat. So yogi squat or wall squats are another posture that is wonderful for our hamstrings. And you guys have done that a million times with me. And you can do that also on your own as you work with the tightness in your own hamstrings. But tonight, we're going to skip that and we're going to come into a cross-legged seated pose, but we're going to bring the soles of the feet together instead. So for butterfly pose, and if you know that your knees tend to sit higher than your hips, you can pad your backside with a blanket or a cushion. And so we want to activate the knees pressing down, engage from the root of the pelvis to the navel center. Exhale, fold forward, draw the elbows down to the calves. Breathing here into the body. Inhale and exhale. Letting your eyes be soft and still. Inhale and exhale. We'll go ahead and lift the torso. We're going to draw the knees together and extend the legs out in front of us. As you sit tall on your spine, we'll reach back for the sit bone flesh, turn it up towards the ceiling, point the toes towards the nose, arms reach up, exhale, forward bend. And so we come into Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. We'll create that roundness to the spine, drawing the chin in towards the chest. Breathing into your body. Breathing into the backs of the knees. And finding more of a gentle release into your Paschimottanasana. And we'll slowly allow ourselves to lift the head and the shoulders and the torso. And so in a 75-minute class versus a 60-minute class, we have a little bit more time for all of our postures, but Janu Sirsasana, a half butterfly, so to speak, is also an excellent posture for hamstring lengthening and strengthening. So we're going to turn our torso towards that left knee, and we're going to reach the arms overhead, and we'll fold forward from the hips. And the reason I like 75 is you can stay a little bit longer in the poses. So if you're practicing hamstring lengthening postures at home, you know, giving yourself maybe 3 or 4 that you could stay in if it is a floor practice you're doing versus a vinyasa practice. And maybe anywhere is kind of incorporating some yin, you know, 2 to 5 minutes. And so from here, this is one of those poses that I like to avoid. I don't like this one at times. And that's when they say the poses that you avoid are the ones that you should do. And I think Jason Crandall had made a quote at some point that said, the pose begins the minute your mind tells you it's time to get out of it. So we'll stay a little bit longer. So we're using Janu Sirsasana, or our head to knee pose, to release tension in our back. And then we also notice a release sometimes in the adductors of the hips and the hamstrings. But this one's especially good if you personally experience lower back pain that you may know is associated with your hamstring. So as your abdomen folds towards your legs, you might even be able to reach your heart towards the top of your foot. And so from our previous discussions, if you know that your hamstrings, it hurts to be in this pose, you can roll a blanket and put it underneath the knee, but we have these awesome sandbags here that you can conform to your knee as well. And when you're ready to come out of it, press your hands down into the mat and lift your heart and chest. And we'll go ahead and extend here through the right leg, bringing the sole of that left foot into the inner right thigh. And so if you're noticing if that hip is extended too far out, you'll have some tightness in the groin if that is an issue you struggle with. Draw the legs closer together. Turn your torso towards that right thigh and let your shin bone be parallel with the ceiling. And we'll reach the arms up. And we're going to exhale, forward bend. You can lasso the foot if your arms reach. And so the yin yogis say to get deeper into the connected tissue, the fascia, we need to stay, and we need to stay for longer than a few breaths. But the yang yogis say, don't round through your spine. Keep that spine straight if you want a little bit of a challenge. And if you kind of notice that it doesn't matter what you do, your hands are reaching and you're in that rounded spine. See what happens if you bring your hands behind your back. And we'll continue to press the toes upwards and lengthen out towards the front of the mat with the right heel. Inhale and exhale. Lift your torso. Breathing into your body. Moving any of your props off to the side. We're going to come down to the earth. And we're going to draw the knees into the chest. And we're going to let the elbows come out to the sides. We're going to come into windshield wiper leg. Letting ourselves rock from side to side. And we're going to fully allow ourselves to surrender into our mat. We're going to come into Shavasana. You can bring your sandbag back to your torso if that feels right for you. And to darken out the room, I'm going to bring a eye pillow over your closed eyelids. And so from here, once I place the iPad on your eyes, letting yourself begin to withdraw your senses. Letting your eyes slowly begin to rest back into your head and let yourself focus your attention on your third eye. So that's that space between our eyebrows. And we'll scan the body now for residual tension and tightness. Breathing into any feelings of fear, of doubt, or negativity. And slowly allow yourself to release, let go, and soften. And as you move your awareness to the level of your heart and your chest, using the breath to release any tension or any tightness or any holding. And we'll send our awareness down to the abdomen, releasing the organs of digestion and our reproductive organs. Gently sending the breath to those areas. And we'll release the tops of the thighs, tensing and relaxing the knees and the quads. Relaxing the shins and the calves. Tensing and tightening the calves. And releasing through the ankles and the toes and the toe tips. As that exhale travels out the soles of your feet, we'll bring some imagery back similar to our beach at the beginning of our practice. Imagining now that the breath is flowing in through the soles of the feet. And as it begins to travel up the front of the body, comes into the body in a circular motion. And we'll let ourselves collect any debris, any tension, any tightness, any fear, any doubt, any negativity, anything that no longer serves us. Imagining it coming to the crown of the head like a wave coming to the shore. And when you reach the crown of the head with your own breath, imagining the breath like a wave, washing it all down your spine, draining out the soles of your feet and beyond, as you gently and slowly drift away. And if you've slowly lost constant contact with your body, bringing yourself back to your physical space now. Noticing your body lying here on your mat and finding the meeting points between you and the earth below. And when you're ready, you can bring yourself back to the flow of your breath. Taking a few more deep belly breaths with your sandbag, helping you strengthen your core and your diaphragm. When you feel inclined, you can begin to bend through the knees and feeling the four corners of your feet grounding you to the earth below you. We'll roll off to the right side. And we'll let that left hand make contact with the earth, grounding you to the earth below you, and imagining that left hand helping you grow roots to your practice and the sense of calm this practice may bring to you when you need it the most. And as you press that left top arm down into the mat, we'll come back to a nice, comfortable seated pose, sitting tall on our spine. And when you've arrived, you can bring your hands into your heart if that feels right for you, and bow to yourself and to your practice. I bow to you. Namaste. Namaste means thank you. It means I respect you. Thank you, ladies, for practicing live. And thank you, Wendy, and your son for practicing online with us. Have a restful night.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
You're welcome.